feels really good to make one of these again. I've probably done 6 recordings of this. Something that I have alluded to in previous videos is that my training partner and I have really ramped up our training and our consistency and how long we go, all that kind of stuff. But I've never really said what we've been doing, and it's kind of an undertaking. It's a pretty big challenge. And honestly, I'm kind of waiting for the 1 year mark to really get into much detail of specifically what that time has done, but I'll break down what we've been doing. Last November, we decided that we needed to really prioritize our training if we're going to be able to get the time that we feel we needed in. So the training routine that we go through ends up being about 3 hours long. Now, in that 3 hours, if you're familiar with HME Taiji, then you'll recognize these terms, but in that 3 hours, we start off with opening, then we get into standing, and then we get the song gong. So, pretty standard practice. It's just 3 hours of, it's kind of brutal. We don't skip out on the greatest hits, you know. We got everything from the squat to yin yang palm, crucifix, Greek gut, like we hit all the ones, and we go at it pretty hard. So every day is quite the experience. And as far as frequency, we've been going 6 days a week. So we take Saturday as our break day, and then Sunday we just start back up like nothing. And every morning we're back at it, back at it, back at it. Doesn't matter if we have class later, doesn't matter if it's Christmas, doesn't matter, nothing. The only thing we miss out on is if our health requires it, which mine has a couple times. I had a couple health scares, all kind of fun stuff, you know, but I'm back at it, so everything's good. A little bit of housekeeping before we dive into all the other stuff. I guess first, as I always do, these are just my thoughts and opinions on what this training has done for me personally. These are not meant to inform your training, not meant to teach you any parts of HME Taiji. Some of these are objective changes, some of these are subjective feelings about the changes. It's not going to really do you much good as far as your training goes. But if you're curious, my perspective on this from an external point of view, I'll happily give it. Now, the other things, I know it's been quite a while since I've last uploaded, so a very big thank you to my Patreon supporters and everybody that's been sending me messages and just leaving comments, interacting with the channel. I really, really appreciate it. I am still here. I am still alive. And in fact, I have a lot of fun things that I'm currently working on putting up. I have a few projects in the works that I'm really excited to put out. Since this has been kind of a main focus of the channel, and I've gotten more interest in the changes that this has made for me personally than I expected, I'm going to be taking a look at each of the other systems, the other styles that I train in and the ones that I teach, and doing a systematic breakdown of what this training has done to those ones individually. Because this training has changed my martial arts 100-fold, more than any other training I've ever encountered. So it doesn't just change the way I move about my day-to-day, it changes every way I move in all my other arts as well. So I'm going to be breaking those down, showing hands-on examples with other practitioners, students of mine. I'm going to try and get better camera angles, actually have camera angles, that kind of thing. So take a little time with it, try to make it something fun, and really give a good breakdown on a lot of those things. Thank you to all the people that have been supporting me. If you want to join my Patreon, I do have that. It's linked down below. There are other ways that you can support the channel. Of course, just watching, a like, a subscribe, that all helps, all that kind of stuff. Leave your comments down below. You can tell me I'm a butthead. You can tell me I'm spot on. That's all fine. I just love when people engage with the stuff I'm doing. I like doing this. This is fun. And then if you are looking to get into HME Taiji, there is an online course. They have a 1-month free trial, all that kind of good stuff. And then if you do want to join up with that, follow my affiliate link down below in the description. that also goes and helps supports the channel. So any and all of that would be greatly appreciated. If not, it's all right. Thanks for watching anyway. So we get down to brass tacks. A huge portion of our opening training, the exercise is meant to open the body and to realign things, is focused on the shoulders, because the shoulders are notoriously difficult to open. And having been through now years of trying to open my shoulders, yes, it's really hard. However, I've made some really interesting progress. So much so that a little while ago I realized that my shoulders were better than my hips. And I wasn't sure whether or not to be happy or sad about that. So I just started hitting the hips harder and trying to make up that difference. In taking more of an aggressive approach at opening up my hips, it's been affecting my waistline, it's been affecting my back, knees, ankles, feet, shoulders, like everything. And actually, since I've been adding more of a focus to my hips, my shoulders have improved even more. Though it's kind of hard to tell if it's that my shoulders have improved more or if there's, I know it sounds strange, if there's just more room for my shoulders to let go since my hips can let go. And it sounds probably pretty odd, but if you train this, you know exactly what I mean. If you don't, I probably sound like I'm crazy. That's probably going to be a lot of this. But a couple fun little markers that I found, because I'll just find myself doing things in around other students for other styles, and they kind of look at me funny a little bit. They might see me warming up in the corner or stretching or, block one of my punches or something. So here's a fun little thing to try. You find your collarbone, right? And you trace it all the way as far as it'll go. At some point, more than likely, you're going to run into your shoulder. So you get to probably about here, and then there'll be this mass popping out forward, and it'll either be muscle and tissue, or it'll be bone. And that bone, instead of being your collarbone, will be your shoulder. That's common for most people, at least what I'm finding. I'm having a lot of people try this. It's just kind of fun. So, we got nice and close here. If you can follow that over, this is still my collarbone. This is still my collarbone. This is still my collarbone. All the way out to here. Down here, and in a little bit, is my shoulder. It's no longer up, it's no longer forward. It is actually underneath my clavicle. I think that's what they call a collarbone. I can trace that all the way out to the end, all the way out. It's just down and in. And for the most part, it stays there. While I'm brushing my teeth, while I'm doing my hair, itching my back, it just kind of stays down. It no longer needs to do this. I go to lift my arm, and I don't lift my arm using my shoulder. I lift my arm using my elbow, and as odd as it sounds, my hips and my legs. That's just how it works now, I guess. My body moves completely differently than it has ever before. And what's really strange is I can't really remember how it felt to not move like this. It kind of just feels like I've always done this. I haven't. I know I haven't, but it kind of tricks me into thinking that I have. So you can see how far out you can feel your collarbone. And if you can't quite feel it, a couple tricks you might try is you can bring a hand behind your back and see if you can drop that down and back a little bit, keeping the head tall. That might help you find it a little bit. Or you can just try and drop the elbow a little further. That usually helps out quite a bit too. Another little one, and these are all just kind of like fun little things to try out, and none of these really mean your shoulders are great or something. It's just kind of fun little things to check on. But if you put a hand on your hip, Peter Pan style, like just above whatever the top of the hip bone is, I don't know, and you just have your elbow pointing out to the side, get your elbow towards pointing straight out to the side, not back, not forward. Don't have this happen. Have everything lined up essentially with that ear. And from there, see if you can point your elbow in that same direction as this part of your arm. Just drop that in that same direction and drop this part low. It might be easy. I find for a lot of people, they actually can't just do this part of it, which I think is kind of interesting. Their shoulders are just too tight front. This balls up and shoots forward. And again, I can find my collarbone, the whole thing, the entire thing. It's not impeded by my shoulder whatsoever. It's kind of strange. Another one, just, I won't have a ton of these. These are just kind of fun little things to do. So for this one, you want to make sure that your arm doesn't go in front of your head like this. You're going to try and keep it lined up with this ear without the head going forward. So bring the chin back a little bit, try and lengthen up the neck. And then what you're going to do is you're going to raise your arm in line with that. And as you raise your arm, keep that shoulder blade down, keep this lined up, and then stretch that arm up, but without the shoulder coming up. So keep the shoulder down, don't let it come up, straighten out the elbow, extend that middle finger. And just see if you can do that without this happening. 9 times out of 10, what I found with people is they can do this, or they can do this, but they can't do this. So just something to kind of tinker with. It's just kind of fun. Oh, what the hell, there is actually one more. This one's kind of fun. So you can put your wrist on, it's your waist, yeah. And kind of like before, but instead of here, you flap that bad boy over that way. And for a lot of people, this is already really intense, which is kind of sad. But from there, grab your elbow. From there, bring your elbow forward, but don't let your shoulder come up or go forward. You should still be able to trace your entire collarbone. You can just bring it forward without it moving around. I don't know, just kind of fun. But all the little tricks aside, the training has been really intense. And I've encountered many times of small, I won't call them small lessons, but where I suddenly feel like I now understand the instructions better than I did before. The instructions for these things are really simple. You know, it's your arm does this, push it this way. That's it. Don't let your shoulder come out of place while you do it. Okay, it sounds simple. And then it's really not, because it doesn't want to straighten, it doesn't want to rotate the right way, it doesn't want to stay up, it doesn't want to do this, and this, and this. And all you're looking to do is these 2 simple things. So the instructions are simple, but extremely hard to do with sincerity, any bit well. It's really hard. So I've been finding a lot of different little ways of, I'm in my own way. Oh, here's another spot that I'm in my own way. Sometimes it's, I'm not trying hard enough. Other times it's, I'm trying too hard and in the wrong way. It's other ways of things are tight, or things are pulling, or things are pushing, kind of, but it's like strain. It's not good. So I'm kind of weeding those out over the last few months and really getting down to some good stuff. So my shoulders are in a much, much better place. I don't want to get too much into this because I'm going to be covering this in the karate video, but we have a kata in Uechi-do karate that's called sanshin, and it's kind of the foundational kata. And for that one, you have your arms up, and I'm going to see if I can get myself to do it now, but my default for years was here. And it might not look all that odd until I drop the elbows and my shoulders go with. Now, the parameters for this posture, my default, you still want a fist away from the elbow to the ribs, yeah? So I sink that elbow. Well, guess what? It's still a fist away. It's just dropped significantly. And it's still in a good height. It's not too open, it's not too big. And this is the same for Kamaete. This is the same for all these different positions. The elbows are really, really important in karate. And so when I drop that elbow, when that shock comes in, when somebody kicks my guard, or when I slam into somebody or go for a takedown, I can now use that form in ways I couldn't before. Because now it's not relying on my shoulder strength. it's relying on my body strength a lot more, because now it's connected through the shoulder, not using the shoulder. And it's kind of an open conduit for a lot of things. And that gets me into one of the ones this one, I know I have a long way to go with this. I preface it like that because, well, I never thought I would get to this spot. I'm gunning for it as hard as I can, but to actually say that I can do this feels like a big deal to me. And but I also say this with the understanding that this is like a tiny percentage of what I will be able to do if I continue doing it this way. I can release my shoulders. If you're not in the system, it probably says like, oh, okay, you can make your shoulders go, ah. But no, I can release my shoulders, and I can't move them to a massive degree while they're released, but I can do things with my shoulders and they're released. I can be walking my dog, and he's a big dog. He's pushing 90 pounds. He's a Doberman, so of course you can hear him barking now. Every now and again he gets really excited out there, and he'll run to the end of the leash and he'll tug real quick, and I'll sometimes I plant my feet. When he pulls to the end, my shoulder wants to come up, it wants to go forward, my shoulder wants to hold. It wants to do the work. So instead, I sink the elbow, and my shoulder opens up, and I can release the shoulder, release the shoulder blade, down through the armpit, down to the top a good bit, and then he just stops. Suddenly all the effort on my end kind of just disappears. It just, whoop. It's like my body just says no. And he can't pull me anymore. He'll try. He'll be dragging through the grass on the sidewalk. It doesn't matter. He can't pull me. It's really fun. But it's, it's an odd thing, because I know that's a high mark for, at least it was for me, and it still is to get it even better. But the way people were talking about shoulders and being able to release your shoulders as kind of a standard for something to shoot for, because if your waist is amazing, your hips are so good, but if your shoulders are crap, your Tai Chi sucks. Like, you're not going to be able to do any of it, because this might be awesome, but it has to be able to get through the arms in order for it to actually do anything with a partner or to anything. So your shoulders have to be good. And now I can actually release my shoulder. I feel some level of accomplishment as far as that goes. Now, getting past the elbow and into the forearms and the hands, well, that's been a very painful process. But damn it, I'm going to do it. So I feel like that's a whole lot of bragging there, but that was a lot of work. It was a lot of work. Now, I want to rewind just a little bit and talk about hips and back and things like that, because I'm noticing that different things in my back have been doing odd stuff. My spine actually wants to kind of curve that way a little ways, and it's slowly starting to straighten out there, because over here on my right side is finally starting to let go a little bit, which is finally letting me drop weight down my right leg properly, which is opening up different things down through the leg, and now it's kind of strengthened in a new way. And there's other spots on my left side that have been, it's just gnarly in there. It's just freaking gnarly. There's this one like side stretch, the one that we do, and it directly attacks all those areas. And at least the first rep, every time I go to do it, every morning, just instantly, takes away my breath. I start sweating. It's hard to breathe. Like, it's just panic. And then I let go, and then I do a couple more reps, and then it actually feels pretty good. So there's a whole lot of stuff letting loose in here. I had a spot underneath my right ribs let go the other day, and we're doing standing posture. We're doing raised hands, those that know it. And when I got to my waist to release that area, I felt my skin brush against my shirt as the spot underneath my ribs literally went dropped. I could feel a movement underneath my shirt for it. And it was really hard for me to keep focused enough to continue going because I wanted to kind of like cheer and laugh. I don't know. It was awesome. It made everything way more intense, but it was really cool. And that's what I'm finding more and more with this is, yes, this is intense training. This is very difficult work. And the harder I go, the more I find. And it's investigative. And I'm learning more about myself in ways that I've never ever thought I would be able to. So I'm extremely grateful to everybody that's been showing me these things and anyone that's been supporting me along the way. And I'll get more into this when we get to the year mark for this training, because damn it, we're going to do it. But I'm very grateful to my training partner. So we push each other to really keep going. Some of those mornings were 5 o'clock in the freaking morning, so we could drive 8 hours, or because it was Christmas, or so. Thank you. But moving on from all the sappy stuff here. I've been, of course, working on my feet more, and of course my feet have been changing quite a bit. I'm gonna show you a couple things and how my feet have been changing over this last chunk of time here. Okay, so a couple things, mind the tan lines, but this is my quote-unquote arch. Right now, if I do literally nothing with it, and it's kind of spread a little farther than normal, I didn't normally even have any gap on this side, so it's kind of fun that I have any gap whatsoever. But when I want to, I can scrunch that bad boy. So I can actually move this big knuckle close to my heel by closing my arch, by lifting the arch through the ankle and up here. And of course, creating a nice little gap right there. Now, a couple other things that have happened, especially my left side here. I know it doesn't seem like anything too wild, but my toes used to do, oh man, I don't know if I can get them to do it anymore. That's actually kind of fun. Okay, that's a little closer. There we go. They used to do this all the time. The poor little pinky toe would be curled in, and this toenail would never really see the light of day. And now this is how my foot normally sits. They're actually spreading out. My toes are straightening out. This guy at the end here, this last digit, used to be way over here. It used to actually angle off almost 45 freaking degrees. Kind of wild. And it sounds odd, but this toenail is now different. It used to be tiny and kind of flicking out this way a good bit. So now it's spreading out, it's flattening, as my toe is slowly rotating from being here to being here. It's kind of wild. So yeah, all my toes are rotating. They're spreading out. My feet are spreading out. I'm actually using the correct parts of my foot. Like this is my bad foot. I can bring that arch up a little bit even. But I'm using the proper parts of my feet. I'm sure my voice all sounds kind of wonky right now, but this part of my foot, the instep, the arch area, used to press firmly into the floor. And you can see, I got fuzzies on my feet, you can see the pads on my feet. It's all around through here, and this is all clear. No fuzzies, no pad, nothing. And I have an arch, kind of sort of, working on it more and more. This used to bulge out right here. Like, it used to really, really stick out. It mildly does now. There's a little bit of bump right there, but it's pulling in. It's actually tightening up into the ankle, so that way it support me a lot better. Anyway, that's the Bigfoot reveal. Don't make a big deal out of it. Thank you to all my Patreon supporters. This is really fun, and I really enjoy doing this. So if you're looking to support the channel, feel free to check out my Patreon, or if you're looking to join HME anyway, and you still feel like supporting the channel, follow my affiliate link down below. And look forward to more of these and other videos here coming out really soon. I'm really excited for what we've got going on. And if anyone is going to be at the workshop in Milwaukee, in July, and I should be there as well, and I look forward to seeing you. So maybe we'll get the chance to push and train together. That'd be really fun. Thanks, guys. See ya.